Hello viewers and welcome to Health Options. Good nutrition is one of the keys to a healthy life. On this edition of Health Options, we're going to take a look at the country's nutritional policy. We intend to help you make healthy choices with our discussion on age and nutritional requirements. Our complementary segments comprising Nature's Scanner, Health Tips, plus our Health Champion are a must-watch. Glad to have you join us. I am Rabi, Abdallah. If you're just joining us, this is Health Options. Healthy nutrition interventions, experts say, need to occur early in children and in adolescents in order to prevent the adverse health effects and poor eating habits. Nigeria launched its nutritional policy on food and nutrition in 2002 with the overall goal of improving the nutritional status of all Nigerians. Let's now join Murjanatu Adam Said for an insight into the nutritional habits of Nigerians.
How old is your baby?
She's 9 months.
Okay, what do you feed her?
We started with the exclusive breastfeeding, but now she eats. She takes only breast.
For how long?
For 6 months.
After then?
Okay. After then, I started giving her cereal and water. Then after like a month, when she became 7, we started giving her boiled potatoes, beans. Now she eats basically everything.
Okay. Do you think you are giving her the right diet?
Yes, she eats fruits. She eats food. Good one. She eats vegetables. I think I'm giving her the right food.
Okay.
I think I've been giving her the right diet. That's why she's not sick.
I do carbohydrate basically during the day where I'm able to work so I can burn enough fat. Most times I eat more vegetables, fruits for dinner because I'm on the big side, so I avoid getting bigger.
In the village, it's what they have that they eat. They don't mind. Some eat akpo in the morning as soon as they wake up. They just eat it. Some garris, anything heavy, they just eat it and go to school. When they come back, they still eat that garri. And at night, they still eat it, but that's what they have.
Balanced diet is the food that we eat that contains all the 6 classes of food. Carbohydrates, protein, fat and oil, water, and vitamin.
Joining me now in the studio to discuss the country's nutritional policy as well as age and nutritional requirements is the head of nutrition, Federal Ministry of Health, Dr. Chris Osa Isokponwu. Welcome to Health Options, Doctor.
Thank you very much. Good day, viewers.
Okay. As you rightly heard in the introduction, Nigeria first launched its nutritional policy in 2002. How have we fared, or has there been any review since then?
Oh, yes, of course. The policy was reviewed and was launched in 2016 by the wife of the president. It's a multi-sectoral policy on food and nutrition, and addresses nutrition across sectors, because nutrition is not just a matter of a single sector. It cuts across sector: agriculture, health, education, water and sanitation, and a lot of other sectors.
Okay, can we just give us an insight into the major components?
Well, basically, the food and nutrition policy addresses the food and nutrition, because the determinants of nutrition or malnutrition are usually the inadequate dietary intake as well as ill health, or let's say sickness, and so you are disease, so to speak. So the inadequate dietary intake involves having to make sure that there is adequate nutritious diet, and that is where the agricultural sector comes in. Basically, again, the overall underlying causes can be classified into three, which is that of inadequate dietary intake, lack of adequate care, as well as health and environmental issues. Under health and environment, you have the healthcare services that have to be adequate. You have to have adequate sanitation and water supply, because all of these work interrelated and can affect the nutritional outcome for children, for women, and even for all age groups.
Okay, let's talk about the content in view of the review. What's new? What was brought in?
Well, the review at this point placed nutrition at the highest level of authority. It first postulates the National Council on Nutrition, and that council was launched not too long ago by the Vice President himself, who is also the chairman of the council. It talks about a multi-sectoral approach, bringing about all the partners from all across sectors, both in government, the private sector, as well as development partners, all working towards achieving set goals. Again, this policy actually is geared towards addressing the achieving the Sustainable Development Goals, particularly Goal 2. And of course, because nutrition impacts on all the other 17 goals, it will also be working towards achieving all this, at least 14 of the 17 Sustainable Development Goals.
Okay, you're aware that Nigeria accounts for one of the worst statistics in terms of malnourished children across the globe. Where is the missing link?
One major gap had been the lack of understanding of the determinants of malnutrition. Secondly is the fact that not many people were aware of it, or even if they are aware, they are usually in a state of denial. There is the third fact. The third fact is that malnutrition is not always that visible. The one that we are actually aware of are the ones we call severe acute malnutrition, the type that you see children looking very skinny and wasted. But when you look at malnutrition in terms of stunting, when children are too short for their age, that has a ripple effect, because such children do not grow to achieve their full capacity. And in Nigeria, about a third of our children are in that situation. And if it continues, it means that we have a future that will impact negatively on the economic indices.
Okay, that brings us to the question of budgetary allocation.
The concerted efforts, the new awareness for nutrition has actually brought about increase in budgetary allocation for nutrition. In the Federal Ministry of Health, there's been a budget for procurement of ready-to-use therapeutic food for treatment of children with severe acute malnutrition, which of course is a huge burden in Nigeria, with about 2.5 million, estimated 2.5 million children across the country having that condition. And so it's also been, the same has been replicated in some states. Some states are beginning to commit resources to nutrition. But the fact is, we need to continue to advocate for more resources to be put in nutrition. For example, it's not just about treatment, it's about prevention. If we continue to treat the children and we do not take appropriate steps to prevent malnutrition, it will almost be like mopping a wet floor without first closing the tap. So the whole effort is geared now towards not just in health, but ensuring that there is a nutritional consideration in budgetary allocation and in programming across the sectors. For example, while we talk about increased food production, there must be a nutritional component, because the malnutrition is not just the absence of food. It's about having nutritious diet. And people should know that we should have agricultural policies that ensures that nutritious food are produced and made available all year round to the people.
Okay, let's now get to the issue of age and nutritional requirement. I know that from cradle to the grave, even from the point of when a young woman attains a reproductive age, the nutritional requirement of such a young woman is supposed to be what it should be if we're to have, you know, a healthy offspring. What should the composition be?
Yeah, the key word here would be adequate diet. Okay. And now it's not the same diet for all ages. It has to be suited for a particular age. At birth, the best nutrition for the child is breast milk, and that should be started within 1 hour of birth of that child. And the child should be on breast milk only in the first 6 months of life. He doesn't need water, he doesn't need any other drink, he doesn't need anointing oil or any herbs. All the child needs for that first 6 months is his breast milk, and the breast milk has been suited for the child at every stage of his life up to when he is 6 months. At 6 months, the breast milk is no longer adequate, and so you need to now add complementary food. The complementary food has to be adequate. And adequacy, we use adequate now instead of balanced. And adequacy means that the child should have his food coming from different food groups in order to have access to the various nutrients. Because nutrients is not just filling the stomach and having just the energy or calorie, but you must have a balance between the calorie, which are the carbohydrates, like we said, then the building his body, what he needs to build his body, like the protein, the minerals and nutrients, ensures that there is appropriate and proper development. Okay. Now, in this case, we usually advocate that children should have their food from at least 4 out of 7 food groups, like grains, roots, and tubers in one group, legumes and nuts as a second group, egg is a group of its own, milk and dairy products, vitamin A-rich fruits and vegetables. That's fruits and vegetables that are reddish or orange in color, and then other fruits and vegetables, like those green leafy vegetables and fruits. And then you talk about the 7th group, which is fleshy foods.
What about the adolescents, the middle-aged and the aged?
Yes, moving from there, it's still the same principle. Okay. But this is the point. In the age of childhood and adolescence, growth increases, but not as much as in childhood. For example, as a child would need about 200% of the amount of nutrients that an adult needs per weight per kilogram of the body weight. So for adolescent, they would need close to about, say, 100%. And for nutrients, again, it has to be at that adequacy and from those different food groups. Okay. Essentially, the meals should come from those food groups for all spectra of life, but it's to what extent. In adolescent, they need a lot of energy, they are active, they are also growing, and energy is required for growth. And now for pregnant women, a pregnant woman needs to have about 20% more of what she normally would eat to ensure that the baby gets what it needs for proper development. Again, her food has to be adequate, not just
what about the aged?
For the aged also would require about 80% of what the a normal regular adult eats, depending on his lifestyle, because most ages will now begin to live a sedentary life. But in all of this, exercise is very important. Again, for women, we advocate more intake of calcium for the aged, because at that point, there are many of them are prone to osteoporosis, which is kind of depreciation in their bones, and many can be prone to fractures. So increase calcium, increase vitamin C in their diet. And so diet that are rich in calcium, vitamin C, and vitamin D will be good for the aged. But the energy intake is reduced at that time because they really don't do so much anymore in order to avoid obesity, which also comes with its complications.
What about so much talk about cutting down salt, sugar, and oily food intakes?
Yeah, we're cutting down, but not necessarily completely removing them, because sugars provide the energy and the calorie we talk about. But the real essence is, again, creating a balance. Because the most important thing we need to understand here is that people should do nutritional assessment. And nutritional assessment involves finding out what your basic BMI is, basal metabolic index. It's easily calculated. It's your weight in kilograms divided by the square root of your height in meters, by the square of your height in meters. A BMI that is less than 18.5 is is under nutrition. The normal is 18, 18.5 and 24.9. From 25 to 30 is overweight, and above 30 is obesity.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Chris, for making out time to be with us on Health Options.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure.
If you're just joining us, this is Health Options on the NTA. How are you coping with the Harmattan? You will recall on Nature's Scanner of last edition of Health Options that we brought you how ailments associated with the period when the atmosphere is all dusty, hazy and dry in some parts of the country can be managed the natural way. We now bring you the concluding part of that segment.
The ladies out there, oh, my skin is dry. What do? I need hair oil. What have we done? We have a combination of skin oil, excellent combination. You can see the color. I'm sure you'll be wondering, Haja is at it again. What is in this oil that she has prepared? There is a lot of oil. I'm going to apply it to my skin so that you see the gravity of the moisturizing effect of the oil on the skin. Excellent oil combination: sandalwood oil, almond oil, avocado oil, carrot oil, etc., formulated to enhance the beauty of the skin, to renew the cells, and also to prevent the drying of the skin. These are parsley seeds, and these are the black seed. You prepare this, you can make a tea infusion of this, especially for the rheumatic patients. There is a process finally called diaphoterism. Diaphoterism is a process whereby we can do steam inhalation, or we use our blanket to be able to get some aroma into the body system. By so doing, we are warming up the system, and we could also be detoxifying the system. Nature is God's gifts to mankind.
Welcome back from Nature's Scanner. Don't hesitate to visit a health facility for adequate treatment if the weather takes its toll on you beyond what you can cope with the natural way. Our health champion for this week is someone whom, though born into comfort with a family name that rings a bell, has chosen to tow the path of humanity using his time, energy and goodwill to bring succor to others and changing situations of hopelessness to that of hope. See whom we've got here.
Nuhu Kwajafa is a young Nigerian who has won the hearts of many over the years through his humanitarian activities in an era where people hardly pay attention to the well-being of others. Through his humanitarian organization, Global Initiative for Peace, Love and Care, especially in the area of medical intervention.
I was still mourning my sister after a year. Then when I was coming back to Nigeria, the taxi I entered in London to the airport, when we go to the airport, he said to me that I shouldn't pay, it's going to be free of charge. I said, why? That day happens to be the last day he's going to be a taxi driver, and he's going to volunteer as a driver with Red Cross. And he made some statement that what you can do to other people that will make life. So I said to myself, okay, no problem, I'm a lucky person. When I get to 50 or 60 to like him, I will start something. But something hit me that, why should I say I'll get to 50 or 60 where I just buried my sister? The last 11 years, we've been able to raise over $4 million for children all over Nigeria. Then we have another case of conjoined twins. Then that one, they went to India, we were able to have about 28 million for them. Then we had a baby, the critical one, or the baby that was born without a throat. A couple of years ago, when we had a baby girl in Adamawa, where somebody uses bare hands to try to plug a private part for rituals, and they left her to die like that. She bled for over 3 days before she was flown to Egypt for surgery. When we had a baby that had 24 hours to live, and they asked us to bring 750,000 naira at the National Hospital. Only option was for me to sell my only car. So I drove my car to Area 10, but they gave me 800,000 naira for the car. So I went straight to National Hospital, I paid the bill and everything, and at the end of the day, I had no car for almost 2 to 3 years. One day I was on the road waiting for a taxi. Some cab driver stopped and said, Oga, I know you. Are you not the one that sold your car for that baby? I said, yes. You know what I'll do for you? Every day I'll be giving you for 4 hours of my time. That's how I was able to survive. It took me about 3 to 4 years using my own funds. Looking for, because my dad owns a security company that I used to work before. So when I left there, my dad got upset that I left there to do charity work. So sometimes I don't go back to the office, just do 1 or 2 supplies, get my profit, pump it into my NGO.
Some of Nuhu Kwajafa's remarkable interventions include raising over $200,000 within 72 hours for surgery of the first baby ever born without 50% skull. I guess the story of Ali Ahmadu, a Chibok boy who was overrun by Boko Haram insurgents and had a spinal cord injury, but is now back on his feet, courtesy of Nuhu Kwajafa and his partners, is still fresh in the minds of Nigerians.
He had never been to school before, so right now he's going through the first phases of school, getting to know A, B, C, D, 1, 2, 3. Then from there, from now to September, but he gets to primary 1. Then we'll watch him till he gets to university.
This path of service to humanity he has chosen, he says, gives him fulfillment socially and spiritually.
There was a time within some 2 or 3 years, within that 11 years, that I escaped death about 11 times. As I was at the airport, I had a ticket on my way to Lagos with a sick child. The boy and the mother came to the airport late. I couldn't get them on Dana. That's how I couldn't fly Dana. UN building, Boko Haram attack. I was there in the UN building too. I missed it by 5 minutes.
The Nigerian society, he notes, could be better off if people took it upon themselves to be their brothers' keepers.
Let's emulate what the whole Western world are doing. We should all get up, forget about our differences, our faith or our ethnicity. Look around. There are millions of people in need that we can support.
You would agree with me that Nuhu Kwajafa is an inspiring young man that is making a huge difference. The question is, how much of such milk of kindness and love for humanity flow from you to other people? The first month of the year 2018 is exiting, and we hope that you're already practicing those health tips we served you for a healthier you in 2018. We bring you the concluding part of that segment.
Drug abuse is a very serious problem in Nigeria, particularly even among young people. It's very sad because drug abuse has its consequences. It affects the brain a lot, and you find out at the end of the day, particularly the substances that cause dependence. At the end of the day, it can even make this person become, frankly, psychiatric. Kidney disease is a big problem in Nigeria right now, both among the young and the old, and some of them actually it is because of abuse of analgesics. So if we have pain, sometimes we have headache. All it requires may just be to take a rest and the headache will disappear. We don't necessarily, have to take analgesics for that. So, but if we have pain that is severe enough for analgesia, I think we should see a doctor and let it be prescribed, and you'll be given the number of times, the number of days, so that once the number of days are completed, you stop. So people should not be on analgesia or analgesics, continuously without stopping. It has its consequences on the organs that we handle it, and that's the liver and the kidneys. It's very important for us to drink water because 60% of our body weight actually is water. So we need to drink water as much as, we can get safe water to drink. Water helps us to get rid of all the toxins in our bodies. For example, when we go to pass urine, there are a lot of things in that urine, but the kidney, that's the main function of the kidney, is to help us get rid of all the toxic substances from our bodies through the urine. So when we drink water, we are helping the kidneys to do its work properly. I mean, all of us know that when you fast or you don't drink water the whole day, when you go to pass urine, that urine is very deeply colored. What that color is telling you is that you are dehydrated. The kidney is struggling. So it's so important that we drink water as much as we can so that we help the kidney to do its work well. Also, when we drink water, it helps our bowel to move. And it's important also that we move our bowel every day. When we are constipated, it's not healthy because what we are doing is leaving the stuff there and allowing the intestines to absorb as much toxin as possible back into the body. And some of those toxins actually can cause cancer. Even the skin, if we drink enough water, you know, the skin will look supple and will look nice and smooth. When we are dehydrated, the skin is rough. People should not be afraid, okay, they say if I drink too much water, I'm going to add weight or something. There's nothing like that. If we are able to make some positive change in each of these areas, I'm sure it's going to help us, you know, go through 2018 beautifully.
It's been our pleasure bringing you this episode of Health Options. My name is Rabi Abdallah. Until we come your way again, remember to seek the right information that will help you make healthy choices. Bye for now.